Welcome into a live Locked On Lions squad show. Jake Riepma, Natalie Kerwin, Bradford Banta with you on a Tuesday. That's because we've got Thursday night football in the Motor City, and we are going to talk about how desperately this Lions team needs a victory. Natalie Kerwin.
Yes, echoing those same sentiments, Jake Riepma. Lions must win this game. We got to shut down Michael Strahan's comments about how the Lions, he thinks they're the odd man out, but they are not. This is a must-win game for this Detroit team. Bradford Banta.
Bradford Banta here. You want playoff football in December? Well, you're getting it early because Cowboys at Ford Field, lights on, stakes high, and the Lions can't blink in their own house.
One pride. It's the Lions Squad. Everything Detroit Lions every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Motor City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the roar of the Lions to the next great chapter, the Lions Squad Show starts now.
And here we go. Welcome into a live Locked On Lions squad show on the #1 sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure you like today's show. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Jake Riepma, Natalie Kerwin, Bradford Banta. I'm glad it was a short week, guys. We can at least move on from the Thanksgiving disappointment. We'll talk a little bit about that, but more turn our attention to the Dallas Cowboys, who are playing a great brand of football right now. We'll have Sean Sharif on the show, who is the host of the morning show on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, the Cowboys flagship station. Of course, we've got Nat's Notes in the Coach's Corner, always a treat on the weekly live show. So, with that said, did everybody enjoy the rest of their Thanksgiving? The last time we were all together, we were a little bit sad, but at the same time, it's still a holiday, and we had plenty more football and fellowship and food to enjoy. Natalie Kerwin.
Yeah, it was a sad afternoon on Thursday, I shall say, but it was obviously a good day with family. Good rest of the weekend. I've had a busy week, with my other job covering the Detroit Pistons. So that's been good. I've had a great week. Feeling good. I'm staring at, I just want to show this. I think you'll appreciate this, Jake Riepma. I would be remiss if I didn't put this on. George Bobblehead night is coming up. I got this last night on the broadcast to show a preview, and so this is just staring at me in the face in front of me, so I just have to show you. Anyone listening who is in Detroit that wants to come to a Pistons game this Friday night will get one of these bobbleheads. So anyways, that's a nice little gift you'd get if you come to the game, first 2,500 fans. But
Get there early.
Yes, to get your George Blaha bobblehead. But it's been a great week. For the Lions, not so much with some injury news, which we will get to when it comes to Nat's Notes. So I won't give that away now. But yes, turning our heads to this Dallas matchup. Jake, I know it's been, you said, fun in your office this week at your radio station, having some fun banter. But yeah, looking forward to that. And Bradford, I know it was especially a really good weekend for you. Let's get to that.
How about that?
Go.
So, my son brought home the high school state championship for Detroit Catholic Central Football Division I champions. So, it happened on Sunday night. They defeated Cass Tech 42-19. So, it was a good game for the Shamrocks. It was a good game for the, for the blue and white. So we were very happy coming out of that game Sunday night, and we didn't get to bed till early Monday morning. We had a little bit of celebration, and they had a victory Monday for the school. So they're having an assembly. Yeah, I'd say within the next couple of hours here to honor not only wrestling but also the state champion football team. So it's a good time. Good time to be blue and white right now.
It's amazing. And high school football is just the best. We've all shared those same sentiments off air. It's good to bring it to the airwaves as well. High school football in the state of Michigan, near and dear to all of our hearts. But the best part about all of this, Nat, follow me on this one. It is the first time in the history of my lifetime, and for sure the Locked On Lions squad show, that Bradford Banta has sported a logo for all the YouTube users to see. It is no longer just the funeral all black, stoic apparel.
I
We've
knew
got a
it was
logo.
different. There was something brighter about his appearance today, and that was it. There's a little bit of color.
Gotta bring the
Oh,
energy. Gotta
that's
bring the
great stuff.
Shamrock luck to the Lions this week. Let's get it going.
I love it.
We started the week out on a high note. Let's keep it going through Thursday night.
He's got a little step in his step.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's what a state
Exactly.
championship will do. Great stuff right there. But seriously, that's in all seriousness, the segue into what we've talked about, kind of turning the page from Thursday's shortcoming against the Green Bay Packers, where a lot of times when you play on those Thursdays, you've got what they refer to as a mini bye, but not the case this week for neither the Lions nor the Cowboys. So Bradford, I know we touched on it a little bit, but I still like to get your coach's perspective on just what that turnaround from a loss on a midweek game like a Thursday into another midweek game in a point of your season that I'll call a must win. It feels like a must win, maybe not by the semantics of must win, where the season's over, but certainly the billing of a must win game.
Look, just like we said in the opening, this is playoff football, and it started late November with this past game versus the Packers. It is starting to heat up. Right now, the Lions are out of the playoffs unless they get on a run, starting with the Cowboys. It is imperative that the Lions win this game, and they can use this victory to vault themselves into the month of December to secure themselves at least a seat at the table in the playoffs. And that's all you ask for. You just want a seat at the table. And I could possibly see this playing out until the last game of the season to find out whether or not they're going to be in the playoffs. And just the way things have been going for them. They need to figure out a way to get it done. And it's up to us to talk about it on how they get it done. So it's guys, I'm not calling desperation, but it's time to either do it or get off the pot. That's for this team. They need to start playing well immediately.
Right. I mean, they're right on the cusp of desperation to me. I mean, they're on the outside looking in, which I didn't think, after week one's loss to Green Bay, as they started to roll and they won, 4 out of 5, and they were obviously like towards the, they were first in one of the top teams in the NFC, and they were rolling and everything was going well. I mean, I didn't think we'd be in this spot. I don't think any of us thought that. And so it is that time right now where they need to look themselves in the mirror and say, we got to figure this out. Injuries are going to happen. It is that time of the year as well, but they have to figure out a way to make it happen. They got to figure out a way to make it work. And while Dallas is coming in, playing some good football right now, 3-game win streak, the Lions also need to figure out how they can turn things around, even after a loss, a tough divisional loss, that is, to the Green Bay Packers. And so this is a time where you have to have a wake-up call. I mean, there's a lot of things you can take away from that Green Bay game. And, hopefully this week, and I mean, over the weekend when they did have, Bradford, you talked about it last week, it was more, maybe walkthroughs and having time to just look at some film. Hopefully they were able to break that down and dissect that and really look at themselves and guys holding each other accountable in the locker room. Is that what takes place after a game like that on more of a shortened week like this?
Yeah. So it to me, Nat, last week was the short week. Mm-hmm. This week is more just regular work schedule. The only difference being I could see Dan giving them Friday and Saturday off. And just being like, hey, take care of the film, just because of Thanksgiving, coaches have to game plan this, that, and the other. And at this point in the season where you're into week 13, you're going into week 14. If you don't know how to do it by now, then you're in more serious trouble than you could ever imagine. So I don't know didn't know their work schedule. They may have met on Friday just to review the day before's film and possibly got a little light workout in and then had Saturday off, or vice versa. He may have switched it up a little bit. He may have given them Friday off and then come in on Saturday for a work day. And then you start your normal week, which is a 7-day work week. You start that normal week on Sunday with regular game planning and a normal practice. And then you continue it. That Sunday practice is a Wednesday practice. The Monday practice is a Thursday practice. Now I got to keep track of days. The Tuesday practice is a Friday practice. Yeah. And then Wednesday would be Saturday. Are y'all able to track that? Because I had trouble tracking it in my head as well.
Well, the good news is the Dallas Cowboys are going through the exact same timeline. So even if we're all over the place, we know the Cowboys are in the same exact boat. And we'll take a deep dive on those same Dallas Cowboys when we come back. Shan Shariff is going to join us. He's the host of the Sean and RJ show on 105.3 The Fan, the Dallas Cowboys flagship station. And he's been known to go toe-to-toe with Jerry Jones. So I told him, bring the boxing gloves and everything. So we'll be ready for that. That's next right here on a live Locked On Lions Squad show. Hey, today's episode of the Locked On Lions Squad show is brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. The NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels a little bit different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, and every highlight moment. Live spreads, money lines adjust instantly so you know you're always in the game. Player props update as your guys heat up, and you can bet on who's going to score the next touchdown, maybe the drive results, the totals, and so much more. It keeps you locked in to every single snap, every drive, every possibility. So, you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bet all season long on FanDuel. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. It's the live Locked On Lions Squad show, getting you set for Cowboys, Lions, and what better way to do so on the number one sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. And right now, we bring on the host of Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan. That's the Dallas Cowboys flagship station right here in Dallas, Texas. Shan Shariff, good morning. Thanks for joining us. As promised and as expected, we are ready for your A game, my friend.
How's my lighting? Is it okay? Is it good? Do I need a green screen or my
listen? We've seen better, but you know what? Are you at the pool? Is that it?
I'm in front of the pool.
Yeah,
it's a little cold to be at the pool.
Well,
this is the Jake Riepma weekend. I'll give you guys all the behind the scenes on Riepma, all the dirt. This is the Jake Riepma behind the scenes weekend spot. So when he's sitting there complaining about his stuff, he's sitting here eating all my barbecue and taking up all my sun.
I like it.
More importantly, drinking all the booze and hanging out with everybody. And but no, Sean, for those that don't know, is the ringleader over at 105.3 The Fan. He's welcomed me with open arms, which I greatly appreciate. And I think for the most part, I mean, time to time I get a little sensitive, but I try to bring my A game as well. I got a little bit of a talking to this morning about not being so sensitive, and I'm working on that.
Yeah, I got to put Jake in check a little bit. He's a good kid, but, he got a chip on his shoulder, which I'm sure you all know. So when Nate Newton calls him sir and he flips out and gets all worked up, I said, Jake, sir is not a condescending, insulting term. Maybe chief or boss, with females, Natalie, there's no hun anymore, sweetie, none of that. But that's how Jake reacts sometimes. He's ready to pounce. He's ready to bite. I got to calm him down a little bit.
You get worked up over sir?
No. Listen, this is totally being taken out of.
Oh my gosh! Come on, Jake.
No, needs him to start.
Sign of respect.
I love it. I was going to wait to the end to ask for all the tea on Jake.
You should have brought me on, man. You should have gotten Choppy or Bobby, someone else.
We do want to talk some Dallas Cowboys with you because these are two teams going in completely different directions. And Nat, I promise at the end we can even spill even more tea because we've only just tapped the yes, exactly, tip of the iceberg kind of style here. But Sean, two teams going in drastically different directions. We've talked at length, kind of the banter at the station throughout the course of the week has been the Lions maybe looking like they've lost a little bit of that mean edge, that toughness, that grit, everything that Dan Campbell brought. Whereas now all of a sudden the Cowboys make a few trades at the deadline and the defense is playing at a much, much more impressive level. And we've known this offense can be absolutely a problem for the opposition, and the Lions no different there. So I guess to begin, how are you looking at this game as far as two teams going in completely different directions?
Well, another thing about Jake is he is very emotional. So when the Lions lose, he comes in and he goes, "Season over, it's done. Like, forget it, it's over." And we're like, "Are you being real, or like how much are you joking?" And I feel like he has been joking to a decent degree, but it's not fully.
Sean, no.
Right, Brad?
No, not at all.
Right?
I can attest to it. Twice a week, I gotta, yep.
Even that tease and setup is drastically different directions. Like, it's a free fall plummet. You're not 15-2. Sorry if you spoiled all of a sudden in Detroit. So you're not 15-2, Jay. You got to be lonely, mediocre 500 with the rest of us battling it out in the NFC. But look, it's hard not to feel great about the Cowboys. We're having freaking Jerry Jones Executive of the Year discussions today and Brian Schottenheimer Coach of the Year discussions. And it's just because of how atrocious the defense was to start off the season. Now people are probably going to sign up for Matt Eberflus to come back next year, all because of the Quinnen Williams deal, when everybody said that the number one move that had to be made was Eberflus to be run and thrown out of town. My feel for this game, and I'm really scared that I'm oversimplifying this. I really am going to make my pick depending on Ammon-Ra St. Brown. I know it's not looking like he's going to play, and I hope he's not going to play for Cowboy purposes. But the other day, I brought Jake in the studio, and I said, "What the hell is up with Jameson Williams? This guy is screwing me on my fantasy team. It's going to be either 2 touchdowns and 120 yards or a freaking goose egg. What is up with this guy? He helped me to the championship last year, and just because of the all or nothing nature of Jameson Williams, and you go and look at Jahmyr Gibbs being their second leading receiver, I feel like this is going to come down to Ammon-Ra St. Brown being out there to help out and run blocking as well, and Jahmyr Gibbs not totally going off, and a little bit of revenge. Jerry was on this morning. I tried to get him to take the bait. He wouldn't do it. He's getting a little more savvy with creating those headlines when he doesn't want to. But last year's incident with us on the radio where, threatened to fire these radio hosts, that was our show after y'all kicked the living crap out of the Cowboys on his 84th birthday. And Dan Campbell, I don't know what it was for. It may have been the Dan Skipper thing, or maybe not hiring him over Mike McCarthy. They all brought up the trick plays and the hook and ladder stuff. And Jerry told us this morning that was embarrassing. And it was embarrassing. And I asked him, are you going to keep that in the back of your mind if you get a chance or a little revenge factor? And he played it up. Oh, it's great. And the rivalries and all that stuff is well and good. But something tells me in the back of his mind, because I had to pay the price for that. I had to get my livelihood threatened because of what y'all did in that absolute beatdown. So that's how we're setting this game up here.
Great. Hey, look, Sean, and so you take all that into consideration. You know that Jerry's going to have his conversations with Shotty, and he's going to be like, "Hey, man, you were here. You know what they did to us last year. So What are we going to do to them this year? And that was Ben Johnson play designs with the hook and ladder. And, it really, it's taking the term we use here, belt to ass, and applying it to the Cowboys last year. Well, things are remembered. And Jerry's got a memory like an elephant. And better than I do. What do you see out of the Cowboys offense going against Detroit's defense? What do you see happening there?
Well, they're really balanced right now. Obviously, George Pickens is the move of the offseason. That's why we had the GM of the year discussion. So it's basically whatever they want. In the last 2 weeks, Cowboy fans were getting ready to try to trade CeeDee Lamb like they did Amari Cooper and give George all the money and get CeeDee's ass out of here because he wants to choke and can't come up in the clutch against Philadelphia. And then the whole partying incident in Vegas. CeeDee Lamb is still a 1. No doubt about that in my mind. And it's just basically determined by the coverage and who is the better matchup of where Dak Prescott wants to go. But with all that being said, Brian Schottenheimer still wants to run the ball. And Javonte Williams, we talk about Clowney. We talk about Quinnen. We talk about Pickens. Javonte Williams gave this team their early identity in terms of running the football. This guy has been a magnificent pickup. We were all saying, why didn't you get Rico Dowdle? Rico Dowdle, just go ahead and bring him back. Look at what he's doing in Carolina. So unless you tell me that there is an absolute Achilles heel and an obvious weakness that the Lions defense has that the Cowboys should go after over and over and over again, and it's not being arrogant, the numbers are the numbers. Y'all have watched them play. The Cowboys can basically do what they want. The protection with this young offensive line has come along. It doesn't look like their left tackle, Guyton, is going to play. But it's been good enough here in the past couple of weeks that Dak's been getting his time. Pickens in the clutch. They wanted to get CeeDee going off the other day early on, which they did against Kansas City. And then Javonte Williams is a physical dude that none of us saw coming over from Denver.
So we talk about, George Pickens being, the move of the offseason and how he's exceeded expectations. But when the Micah Parsons trade went down, obviously that, set off alarm bells within the NFL, right? Oh my gosh, this is huge. And he was a game wrecker against the Lions on Thursday, 2.5 sacks on Jared Goff. When you talk about a guy like that, what has been the biggest adjustment for the Cowboys defense now that he is gone? Where has his absence maybe been felt the most, or what have you noticed without him there now on this team?
Well, there's less podcasts to react to. I don't know where all the podcasts and media Micah went. That all of a sudden disappeared. But look, in the Giants game, in the Packers game, in these games that they were getting destroyed and helpless defensively, you don't have Micah Parsons for the one play, right? The one play at the end of the game, or in the overtime, or on the 3rd and 12, which it just felt like people were going to convert. So you don't have that presence and that factor. The difference, obviously, with Quinnen is I feel like Quinnen Williams is helping out all levels of the defense a little bit more, not in terms of the individual superstar play, which Micah is more capable of, but teams have immediately kind of abandoned the run against them. Like Pete Carroll, Brian Schottenheimer, we had a nickname for him when he got hired. My co-host called him R2P2, like run twice, punt twice. I don't even know what it was. Choppy came up with it, so it probably doesn't make sense. But he was basically trying to call him an old school dinosaur who wanted to run, pass, punt. And Schottenheimer told us at the combine, that was Pete. I wanted to throw the football. I wanted to be more aggressive. Pete Carroll wants to run the football. So when they had a 16-1 run-pass ratio or pass-run ratio against Vegas, we're like, yo, is Quinnen Williams that damn good that they're abandoning the Pete Carroll run the football game plan? And then Chip Kelly got his ass run out of town. But you've seen it in other instances against other teams. They're kind of abandoning the run, and obviously that's helping out all levels of the defense where the secondary knows what is coming. So from the individual play, and obviously Micah Parsons is a stud, you're not getting that in a crucial 3rd and 10. I'm not worried if I'm the Lions and Jared Goff right now. A little bit of worry about Ezraku and Clowney, but you don't have that freak. You don't have that defensive player of the year candidate that you had when obviously 11 was there.
Sean Sharif is with us on the live Locked On Lions squad show, providing everything we need to know about the Dallas Cowboys, of course, the Lions opponent on Thursday night. Sean, you're already a celebrity here on the Locked On Lions squad show. You got a fan saying hello. Oh, it looks like it's Sid Carriel saying hello all the way from Morgantown, West Virginia there. So we got fans tuning in from all across.
So Jake's fiance is my only fan.
She's bigger. Yeah, I mean, obviously she tunes in every single episode, but this is obviously the highlight for her. But no, with Lions Cowboys Thursday night prime time, do you think there's anything to be made about just Dak and kind of, you mentioned how balanced they are, but in my estimation, I would say the Lions, and it was very clear with Jordan Love just having all day to pass, and how the Lions pass rush has been a weakness of this team. Do you think, knowing that combined with maybe the opportunity to put up a lot of points, and not that you right the ship of last year, but that being in the back of the mind of everybody with the Cowboys, do you think that influences play calling at all? Or is it just, hey, let's go out and let's win this game. We're trying to, make a playoff push, or let's go put up some numbers here.
Look, let's not go overboard, okay? No one thinks the Dallas Cowboys are going to be in a position to embarrass the Detroit Lions and, run laps around them and blow them out and embarrass them. I think, go ahead.
I don't mean embarrassed by any means, but just like, let's get in a shootout versus early in the season, even that Eagles game, even though it was a long time ago, the first one where you had the lightning delay, like that's more of a rock'em sock'em style game. If just in terms of game, the way the game plays out.
Well, that's why I take it back to Ammon-Ra. Like, if St. Brown's playing, to me, you're taking the over pretty quickly. I don't even know what the over under is, but I can already hear, all my gamblers saying take the over in this game. Brian Schottenheimer is going to come out, and I don't think they establish and start off with any certain way. They need to get out to a lead. Like, these games have been comebacks. Like, Dak had the early interception against Kansas City. They were down 21-0 against Philadelphia. Like, the Cowboys are working all this magic, but they're having to come from behind to do it. So they need to get off to a lead in this game. I'll ask you guys, what do you, if St. Brown doesn't play, what do you think is like the ceiling for what Detroit scores?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. So,
I'm a professional. That's why they pay me, Brad.
Yeah, I know. That's why they pay you the big bucks. But I get it. And
that's why he's the host of the morning show, and I just do the sports reports.
He was, Ammon-Ra was, he was out for what, 3/4 of the last game, the Thanksgiving Day game versus the Packers, and the Lions had to pick it up. They put in Kennedy, they had Tesla. Are they the answers? No, they're not. And then you have Laporta being down as well. And then you have Wright, who is, 50-50 from my understanding. So at the tight end position. So there's some guys that are going to have to step up and fill in those production spots. Now, and it's going to have to be by committee, in my opinion. It's not going to be the individual player. I personally do not foresee Ammon-Ra playing this week. And you asked, do they get to their, was it 29.7 points per game? Because of that, the way they get there is imagining just a different way to use Jahmyr Gibbs and possibly putting him in the slot and then putting Montgomery in the backfield. and using that quick pass game and using his quickness out in the open versus the Dallas defense, which the secondary, if I'm not mistaken, may be a little bit banged up. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, the good news around here, I think it's good news. I don't know, because I've been trying to get this guy out of here for 2 years, but I think Trayvon Diggs is on track to play. So you're going to have, arguably, I think Deron Bland's still probably better, but you're going to have your secondary arguably at their most healthy spot with Diggs, with Bland. Malik Hooker's been humongous. Look, they were trotting out non-NFL players in the first half of this season on defense. Like, these guys are bums, like scrubs, bums. Kyrie Elam already out of here.
You're preaching to the choir. We had the Legion of Whom playing versus Tampa Bay. So,
yeah. So Clowney on the injury report, a little bit of a concern. And then Guyton is supposed to miss, but otherwise they are optimistic about getting Diggs back. But no, I think that, there's no revenge factor the way that they call the game. It's still an exciting look. When the Cowboys defense is on the field, I'm actually kind of excited and watching them now. This was historically bad. Y'all already know this. And I'm interested to see how the Detroit Lions are going to go at them, because other teams, that y'all aren't going to abandon the run. You got freaking Jahmyr Gibbs, and you're not going to have Ammon-Ra St. Brown. But teams have adjusted to how they're attacking the Cowboys because of Quinnen Williams. He's freed up Odigizua, who was an overpaid bust to start off this season. We're ready to put Kenny Clark in retirement. When Jerry and Steven tried to sell us, this is what you get back. With Michael Parsons, Kenny Clark's going to fix the run D. We can scheme up all the pressure. Well, now Kenny Clark has come alive. Osa Odigizua has proven that contract. So I think the Cowboys are in a position, y'all, where they do what they do, and let's see the other team react versus the other way around.
I love it. Sean, this has been awesome, man. We so appreciate it. And I know you kind of hinted at it. It's going to hinge upon whether Ammon-Ra St. Brown plays or not, but let's say his status is still it's a game time decision. What are you leaning? Which way are you leaning on this one?
No, game time decision. That's too optimistic. I know this Alliance podcast. He's doubtful, questionable at best. He's not playing, and the Dallas Cowboys keep the hope alive and go in there and win on Thursday night.
Oh man, and I'll never hear the end of it each morning. You
don't have to say anything. You're already going to come in and say they're going to get killed. Season over. Fire Dan Campbell. Trade Goff. Get them all out of here. That's Riepma for you.
No, not Jared Goff. I'm a Jared Goff apologist.
Yes.
But every other one, there might be some truth to that. But
all right, so leave more time for me next time to spill more dirt on you, except if Sid's watching.
Now, I feel like, do we have a minute or two, Jake? I feel
we
like
got time. We got time.
We got Bradford and I definitely come on.
We can take 2 breaks in a row. We can take 2 breaks in a row.
Jake is Al Bundy around there, all the high school glory stories and all the stadiums named after me, and I got all the trophies made after me. So he's our Al Bundy up there. You're probably too young for that, Natalie, but Brad knows it.
Oh yeah, very well.
None of that.
On again? Are you regretting it?
None of that is true. I keep my mouth shut. I come in and I knock out those sports reports, and then I get on with my business. None of that is true. Right. But great Cowboy stuff.
I mean, we do have evidence of a high school football helmet being worn on the show. So you're talking Al Bundy through and through.
Look at all the helmets behind him.
Look at
his own bobblehead's already behind him, life-size figure.
That's bullshit.
Natalie's got a CD collection, and so maybe she's not too young for this. And then you got your own helmets and bobbleheads.
Hey, it's better than the sun just beaming in and washing you out. Let's work on the background next time.
Right. Yeah, I'm done with y'all. Enjoy the game.
All right. There you
Thanks,
go.
Sean
Sharif.
Thanks,
He's the
guys.
man. We appreciate it. We'll do it again. Maybe the Lions and Cowboys will meet in the playoffs if we're getting really optimistic. But that's our guy, Sean Sharif, host of the Sean and RJ program on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. Hey, when we come back, let's do some Nats notes. I'm excited to turn the page and be done talking about me and back into this matchup.
Jake, we had to. We got the opportunity. We got to get a little dirt if we can.
Oh, my goodness. What's coming up on Nats notes?
Hey, this Lions secondary may look a little different moving forward. Unfortunately, that's my little tease. And then we just talked about it. an ankle injury to Ammon-Ra may change Thursday's game plan quite a bit. We'll deep dive into that next on the Locked On Lions Squad Show.
Hey, today's episode of the Locked On Lions Squad Show is brought to you by Aura Frames. That's right. It's a new sponsor. Everybody buckle up and dial it in because the holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos, this is the perfect gift for them. I can attest to that. Got this for my grandparents. They love it. Endless uploads of pictures, 30-second videos through the Aura app. And you know what? If you want to add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels even more thoughtful when it's opened, that's a possibility as well. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com. That's AURA frames.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames. It's named the #1 by Wirecutter by using your promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's right. Promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's AURA frames.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Here we go. Can move right along on the Nats Notes portion of the program, the #1 sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. Bradford Banta.
What do we got?
I have one question.
Okay.
From the masses, they want to know how many offers you got out of high school, Jake.
Is that?
I apologize, Nat. I had to ask the question.
That's
It is, of course, it's my fiance. We are not talking. Yes. Okay, so you know what, we're off the rails anyways. I probably won't recover from the show anyways. So there may have been a time when we first started dating that your boy may have had one or two too many pops, adult beverages. We've all had these moments, and you just start talking and you say the dumbest stuff. And one of them happened to be bragging to Sid that maybe I had a few offers out of college. Not a good look, or out of high school. You talk about the most embarrassing thing to do when you're drunk. That's me.
All right, Matt, time for your notes.
Wait, I have follow-ups. Questions. Was there offers? Was this true?
Yeah, but like how embarrassing and how presumptuous and narcissistic is that to trying to impress a girl saying, "Hey, I had some offers coming out of high school." Like, that's so embarrassing.
Sydney, I need you to comment right now. We need you to see. I need
oh
some.
Man, it's my face is so red. I can only imagine. But yes, I don't. Sid is hard at work right now, so maybe she went back to work. But man,
Maybe.
that was a time. I'm not proud of it, but it feels better now that you guys can hold that over my head as well.
Okay. Hey, the truth is coming out this show, and I love it. Jake, we won't put you in misery any longer, okay? We will move on to Nat's notes here.
Thank you.
All right, guys. To start off the segment, I just have to come out with this. Not that it's going to affect the Lions any longer, but the Frank Ragnow news. You guys, it lifted our spirits, and then it shattered our spirits. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but man, oh man, we were so excited. I couldn't even believe it when I read it. Okay, failed physical. And so he's coming back. Then it's the failed physical, grade 3 hamstring strain. I just got to ask you guys, I don't understand how he either in his workout, maybe he tore the hamstring. I mean, we don't know the inside scoop, but how do you not know you have a grade 3 hamstring strain? Because doing the research on this, it just takes a quick Google search. Your hamstring's basically off the bone when it's grade 3. So I just wanted your guys' instant reaction.
Yeah, instant reaction to that is with the grade 3 hamstring strain. That means he has not gotten off the couch and went straight to the physical and possibly tore it off the bone walking into the physical. So it's kind of, he's like, yeah, let me go see if I can go run since I probably haven't been doing it.
Yeah, I wonder, and just speculating, like, were they working him out and it happened? Because Nat, like you said, you would know if you had a grade 3 hamstring. And then my mind just goes into this world, and I get, like, my imagination just pictures the scene, like everybody's so excited that Frank's back. He takes off on a 40-yard dash and Frank's not back, and there's a hamstring. Like, that would just be you could probably hear a pin drop in the facility.
Yeah. I mean, you're almost speechless whenever that came back, and you know, and like you said, whenever he has a grade 3 hamstring strain, and it's like, you know, did you just say yes and let's see if we pass the physical, or if I can pass the physical? The Lions Nation possibly jumping the gun there a little bit before all of that should have been announced.
Yeah, I agree with that part, because it wasn't like it was an insider. And obviously, you know, the main one, Schefter and Rappaport and everyone else, are going to, you know, further the story. But the original post came from the Detroit Lions with Frank, a picture of Frank running out of the tunnel. So yeah, like as a fan, or even as anyone in the league, you're going to see that from the Lions account, and you're, you know, so I guess what I'm saying is I think it was everybody's authentic reaction to be fired up, because why wouldn't you? It was the team account.
Right. And it was no context. There was no, in that, you know, when they posted the picture either, they didn't put anything in the tweet. It was just the photo. So everyone's like, what's going on? What's happening? And then, you know, people within the Lions organization, I thought I saw, you know, Dan Miller say something, you know, big news coming out later today. Like, some people just started to tweet, you know, stuff. And it was like, okay, people were speculating, is there something with Frank Ragnow that's going to happen this afternoon? And then the Lions post that, and it's like, okay, it's actually happening. And then you find out within, was it 2 days later?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, what? it almost, to you guys' point, it felt like they should have waited till he passed the physical to bring out the news, or just not even announce
right.
it.
And you can, and you know, you can get excited about it, but it goes to the old adage, you can't coach the players you don't have. Yeah. And they do not have Frank Ragnow, and he will not be on the field this coming Thursday. Mm-hmm. So, and he was scheduled to come back on the 14th, I believe it was, versus the Rams. Anyway, and he was not going to play in this game. Now it's rehab for him until he gets healthy. And then he has to make another decision once he gets healthy. Do I want to come back? Mm-hmm. We'll see. Well,
yeah, I don't know. So that was disheartening. So I wanted to bring that up at the top of the segment. But speaking of who might not be playing on Thursday, Ammon-Ra St. Brown. I know we just hit it in our last segment, but hard to say. I mean, low ankle sprain. You know, they play one game in the next 12 days until they play the Rams on the 14th. So it's hard. It's like, what's the balance? Do you hold him out until then? Obviously, he's one of your core guys. Do you really want him to rest up depending on the severity of the sprain? Or do you play him because this is such a pivotal game? Feels like a quote unquote, you know, Jake.
No, I got in trouble last time. I clearly got a reputation.
Fill in the blank. You know, how do you guys feel about it? I know, Bradford, you don't think he's going to play.
Right.
So I guess I'll throw it to you, Jake, too. I mean, what do you guys feel? You think the Lions are going to play him?
The timeline is so tricky because there is that mini bye that we've talked about following the conclusion of this game. And, you know, to use the semantics of must win versus mathematically, what does the process look like? You know, the Bears and Packers have to play each other twice, not to get into just a deep dive of the NFC North, but I think we could be having a drastically different conversation about the Chicago Bears in a few weeks as it relates to the division. So if there's any doubt, I say bite the bullet and play the long game.
Here's the other thing you have to look at. You have to look at the entire NFC playoff picture.
Yeah.
Because you have the Buccaneers without Baker Mayfield sitting at 7-5, and they're leading the NFC North. Then you have the Bears.
Baker's back.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
he did.
I mean, he could be one hit away from being out again.
Yeah.
So, how much do the Buccaneers want him to bend and bear? I mean, was that grin and bear it? And then, the Packers' future schedule, the Bears' future schedule, what we're looking at here, the Rams and Seahawks out at the NFC West, and then you have the 49ers sitting at 9-4. And then you have us at 7-5, and then the Panthers sitting at 7-6, and the Cowboys as well. So this game this weekend could be a very pivotal game when everything's said and done on who decides who gets that last seat at the table. Unless, one of these teams, the aforementioned teams, goes on a run. I don't see that happening because traditionally everybody's going to be playing division foes as the season starts to wind down. And getting back to Ammon-Ra, does he dress? And then do you use him in only specific situations? Can he run his normal route tree? With a low ankle sprain, does he run it better than, let's say, Tesla or Kennedy? I don't know. These are answers that have to be answered. These are questions that have to be answered within the building. And, then I brought it up whenever Sean was on earlier. Do you put Gibbs out in that position and then put Montgomery in the backfield to run those type of routes, and then put Gibbs in the backfield whenever you're running the ball? It's some interesting game planning going on in Allen Park right now at the facility on how they're going to use their distinctive personnel. And it all, it's all privy on whether or not Ammon-Ra, they want Ammon-Ra to suit up, or can he suit up? And that question won't be answered until, probably 2 hours before game time, whenever you have to turn the inactives in.
So that'll be the big question mark leading up to Thursday's game, and obviously how the Lions game plan, that night. It'll be huge whether Saint plays or not. But one guy we know will not be available for Thursday and the rest of the season now is Terrion Arnold, placed on injured reserve, and it was just announced he will be having season-ending shoulder surgery. So tough blow for the secondary, who's already been going through it this season for the Lions. He originally hurt his shoulder back in week 5 against the Bengals. If you guys remember, he was out for a few games and then got a second opinion. They thought at that point he needed season-ending shoulder surgery. Then he eventually came back, but it never truly fully recovered. So according to NFL Network, it got to a point where he felt like he couldn't continue to move forward with the pain he was still feeling. So that's why he's now undergoing surgery at this point. So only played 8 games this season.
I came across this post on X from a couple of Lions people that I just kind of put it into perspective. The 2024 draft class is literally hurt. You got Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Giovanni Manu, Siani Vaki, and Christian Mahogany. Like everybody.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But those first 2 picks, obviously Arnold and Ennis, you would feel great about them being in the secondary right about now. And with the investment at that part of the draft, obviously in the first and second round, those are guys you can't, and I'm not classifying it as a miss by any means, but it's unfortunate right now. And that's been the calling card of Brad Holmes in this front office, is building what the Lions are now through the draft.
For sure.
Yeah, agreed. It's I mean, they want to develop from within, and they want to sign outside pieces that are going to, one, fit into the system, and then two, buy into the culture.
I do have to give props. Sorry, I got to give props to my guy, Russell Brown. That's who the tweet was from. I don't want to, as we put our journalist hats on here, I don't want to be stealing content without citing the sources. So he does work for ESPN and CBS Radio. So shout out Russell Brown.
What a guy. Jake, true to form. I love it. Ever the professional.
Consummate pro, baby. Pro's pro.
Okay. I like it. No doubt. So, but, and then, okay. So I see, did we talk about Joseph in Glasgow?
Not yet. I was going to get to that next, but go ahead and hit it.
No, I was just, hey, this is Nat's notes. Please. I don't want to rain on anything.
No, you're good.
I'm good. So back at practice.
Both of those guys back at practice, which is great news. Graham Glasgow, according to Dan Campbell, is doing better, but he's only done walkthroughs. Kirby Joseph has some stability in his leg, but he's running and doing individual work. He spoke to the media for a little bit this week and didn't share a lot, but they're both, a step ahead of where they were. So they're starting to make progress, which is a good sign. Better than where they were at. Brock Wright still battling a neck injury, so that's not great. Tight end room not looking great right now. Obviously, Sam Laporta not being available, and then Brock Wright, who knows if he will be available on Thursday. But Shane Zylstra, he is designated to return. He's been out most of the season with an ankle injury, so he's started his injury evaluation clock. So that's big, obviously, with the tight end room currently without, their top two options. And then to close Nat's notes out, Josh Pascal's season is over. Which is interesting. This was an interesting piece of news to come across. He was never activated from, the NFI reserve window. He appeared to be progressing from his back injury that he had this offseason, that he had surgery from. This past week, though, he was downgraded, unable to practice midway through last week, which indicated something unexpected likely happened. And his clock for the injury expired last Wednesday, and the Lions elected to leave him on the non-football injury list. And so it ended his season. And so Dan Campbell was asked about that this week. And he said, basically, it just wasn't enough time to really say he'd be able to get through the year or that he was ready. That's what it came down to. And so they just felt like he's not ready to come back. And so this has been a long process for him. It's sad because, we talked last week about Marcus Davenport not showing up on the stat sheet for the Lions at defensive end. Obviously, Josh Pascal is a guy that you looked forward to coming back, lining up opposite of Hutch. You've been looking for another guy to provide a pass rush alongside Hutch, and he's someone we were hoping could come back by the end of the year. But obviously that's not the case. So this is also a contract year for Josh Pascal too. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this offseason with him. So that's the other piece of news and an interesting one. Who knows kind of what's going on behind the scenes and what happened last week that kind of made them decide that they couldn't move forward, taking him off that list.
Yeah, Bradford, I'd love to pick your brain on that, just from because it just seems like it's peculiar in a lot of different ways. And I'm glad you brought that up, Nat, because when I heard that, I was puzzled. And maybe it's because I'm just looking at, bottom line, what does this team need the most help in? Here's a guy that at some point you expected and hoped could contribute to that weakness on the team. And now it seems like it came to like the result of the situation for me, like it hit me in the face when I read the news.
Yeah, it's a non-football injury. So what does that mean in the eyes of the collective bargaining agreement and to the owners as well? It is, you get in a fishy situation, and each team can handle that in its own specific way when we're talking about pay. And the Lions, since this new regime has come in, have done it the right way. But you start thinking down the line and in the future, if he were to file a grievance whenever his career is done, this non-football injury is not going to be brought into play if you're talking down the road for certain injuries, because it is an official NFI, which is non-football injury. So that means it did not occur on the field of play or in the Lions facility. So it's an unfortunate incident to shut Pascal down for the year. Would you have liked to have had his help? Yeah, you would. So, but it's unfortunate that he's not going to see the field in 2025.
Well, I'm going to wrap up Nat's notes because we only have a few minutes left here, but that's it. So, Bradford, I want to hear the X's and O's of how the Lions are going to get this thing done on Thursday. So let's toss it to you.
It's going to be quick. I promise you. Jake, do we have a break?
Oh, yeah, we should. It's a quick one, though. Bradford,
okay.
Coach's Corner, next. I told you it was quick.
Hey, we're back. We're back. So here's the question that I have for y'all is, you have an offense that's averaging 29 point whatever points per game. And then the Cowboys have a defense that are giving up 28 points per game. What is going to give in this game? That is my question. And can Calvin Shepard come up with a plan to utilize the weapons that he has on defense to stop Dak Prescott and the mighty Cowboys offense that is number one in scoring? That is the question. And that's why we are here right now for the next 3 minutes to bang this out. So how are they going to do it? So look, they have to find a happy medium, talking about Detroit's offense versus Dallas defense. What's the plan going to be? Is Johnny Morton going to be back more in the fold in the play calling to help Dan manage more of the overall game? That's the question that I have, because it worked versus the Washington Commanders, which is now they're on a 7-game skid, I believe the Commanders are. We help attribute that, and then it kind of worked versus the Giants, which were blown out by the Patriots last night. But there has to be a happy medium just so Dan can get his mojo back, and just get some of that play calling duty off of him. How do you attack Dallas, though? I mean, they have given up 192 yards rushing on the road this year. So that would be my A1 game plan, is go let our big men go establish the line of scrimmage and get Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery involved in this offensive system, and just establish the run from the get-go and take that puppy and run it and keep leaning on their defensive line and their linebackers throughout the entire game. So by the time midway through the third quarter, that's whenever Gibbs and Montgomery are just getting lathered up and just keep cutting them loose and taking it. And what's that going to set up? It's going to set up the play action. And with the play action, you're going to be able to take some deep shots over the top with J-Mo. Now, J-Mo showed last game that he is able to catch the ball with his hands, which we've been hoping for over the first half of the season. He showed it last game. Now, can he continue this showing of improvement, that ascension that we've been waiting for. Now it's going to be his. I mean, it's going to be his. His time to shine, with Ammon-Ra possibly being out. So he's got to step up. He's got to take the bull by the horns, and don't let the Cowboys lasso him in. And every target, he's got to be 100% with his targets this game. Whenever the ball is thrown his way and he can't have the timely drops, he's got to be, guys, you can count on me and I will make the play. Just get the ball in my hands. So, but I think that they're going to lean heavily on Gibbs and Montgomery this game. So whenever the Cowboys are on offense, I mean, you're talking about a number one offense in the league. I mean, with 393 yards per game and 4,717 yards total already and 40 TDs, these guys can light the scoreboard up. We have to be able to match them. And you hate to say this, but we need to generate a pass rush. And if it's 5 or 6 man pressures that we have to do, then because of the amount of man that we play on the Detroit Lions defense, then by all means, put Dak on the ground as much as you can. Because every time you put him down, he has to get up. Every time you put him down, he looks at his offensive line and says, what the heck, guys? Why am I on the ground so much? So put him on the ground. Have the defense stop the run. So, and it's just it's going to be an interesting game. And I am curious to see what team is going to show up for the Detroit Lions when it comes to this particular game. They have history, and the history dates back, through the early 2000s. They have played each other on a consistent basis, and something always happens in this game. You don't know what it is, but something's going to come up that's going to make this game memorable. And who's it going to be for, and who's it going to be against? That's the question that's going to be answered Thursday night.
I agree. There's always something. Always. I'm anxious to see what it is, and I hope it's in the Lions' favor. You hope it is.
Me too.
Me too. Well, guys, I know we've been a little all over the place on today's show, but I think we've covered some good ground, and definitely, embarrassed me, which has been I'm sure everybody else enjoyed that. But hey, we don't have to wait very long for our post game show. These Thursday games, I mean, I kind of like it. We get two shows during the week, and then we'll be back with everybody Thursday following the conclusion of that prime time game. So with that, final thoughts, anybody?
Let's get the scores. Let's do the scores.
All right, yeah. Let's do it. Bradford Banta, lead us off.
Yeah. So I'm saying the offense is going to cut loose a little bit, and the defense is going to have a little bit of trouble. So let's go 42-35, Detroit Lions.
All right. Wow. 42. I like it. That's the old Cowboys defense.
I know. I was going to go high scoring as well. Let's say I'll go 45-35.
Whoa. A lot of points. All right. I got to be different. And my predictions, I mean, unfortunately, all of our predictions have been off as of late. So I think, Bradford, you're onto something with running the ball. And I think that's where the Cowboys are a little bit susceptible. And it's going to be one of those games that doesn't have a lot of possessions. So give me the Lions with the last second Jake Bates field goal for the win, 20-17 at Ford Field.
Wow.
Low scoring. All right, I'm sending it in the group, so we all have the written proof of whose prediction will be closest. So Hey, this has been a blast. As always, we've got the post-game show coming your way Thursday after the game on the #1 sports podcast platform. Our thanks to Sean Sharif of 105.3 The Fan in Dallas for joining us. For Bradford Banta, Natalie Kerwin, I am Jake Riepma. See you next time. Make sure you like today's video and subscribe. Lions Cowboys Thursday night football will be on afterwards on the Locked On Lions Squad Show.